Hello there, wonderful world of YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and LinkedIn, better known as the wonderful world of social media. Yours truly, Jimmie Williams. Some of you guys know me from Facebook. I have a huge Facebook group, a real estate investment group, actually. And I've since then expanded to some other platforms. Right now, we're growing our YouTube channel pretty big right now, and Twitter and Instagram. And so I want to say hello and thank you for joining us on all those platforms. I'm back with another episode of Revitalizing the Entrepreneur Spirit. I love doing this show because every now and then I meet that one person that's born out of due season, that person that's really, really special. And that's not to knock everybody else. Everybody's important. But sometimes you have some that are extraordinary. They bring something to the table that's going to change a generation, a trailblazer, if you will. And so I like to take the time to investigate and bring them on my show and talk to them and expose them to the world so you guys can see that there's lots of opportunity to let you know that you can do it no matter what your situation is. I have a very special guest today. She's one of my dear friends. I've been knowing her a long time, for about 2.5, 3 years now. And she fits the criteria of, I would say, a genius, okay? And I know that's a big word, but when I say a genius, I simply mean she's someone who's perfected her craft to the point to where, you know, she's highly motivated and very energetic to fulfill her vision and won't stop until she has it, okay? A genius doesn't mean that they're perfect. It just means that they perfected something and they truly understand what it's like to go out and put the work in. And her name is Tash Salas. Tash, can you hear me? Can you see me?
I can hear you. I can see you. I can feel you, Jimmie. I'm here with you.
Awesome. Well, what I want to do is I'm going to talk about you for about 2 minutes, and then I'm going to have a special guest come on and read your bio because, you know, your bio is it's really awesome. I feel like the things that you've accomplished as a young woman is very special. I think a lot of it, and another reason I do the show is I want other people to connect with you, especially young women that feel like, you know, I have no hope. This coronavirus has pretty much knocked me out psychologically, and I don't feel like I can bounce back. Well, I think your story and the things that you've been through can really help them, and it can help all people of all races, all backgrounds. So I'm going to have someone come on in just a second, but here's what I want to say about Taj. She's one of the leading voices and trailblazers of the next generation. Okay, this generation plus the next one to come after it. She's an independent thinker. She's a motivational speaker. So if you guys want someone to come and speak at your event, college, high school, or at a business meeting, a seminar, she's open to that. She's a financial consultant, and she's a wealth-building strategist. What does that mean? Well, financial consultants help you and show you how to organize your finances and what they think you should invest in and where to put your money and those kind of things. And a wealth-building strategist. Wealth is not just making money. It's leaving something for the next generation. It's willable to people that come after you, and it's something that's going to spread like wildfire. And once you're gone, it's still here. So she teaches you how to have wealth, okay? And I'll let her talk more about that a little bit later. Here's the most important part about her that I like. She's full of passion, drive, tenacity, perseverance, and she has a beautiful heart to help people. I've been watching her, again, like I said, for a few years now, and I see how she loves on her own community. I think that's very, very important. The Latino community, I believe she's from Mexico. You're from Mexico, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you have a passion to help all of the Latino people from North America to South America, all over the world, to understand economics, okay? And if I can say that, I gotta say this, me as a black man, as an African-American, I've learned that that's very important to put your people first. That doesn't mean that you're a racist. It doesn't mean that you put everybody else down. But if you look at the other groups, Chinese groups, you look at the white American groups, you look at the Arabians, they all put themselves first and they position themselves to win financially. They go out and they start businesses. They'll get 100 guys together and start putting their money together, and they'll open a business. And then they'll say, hey, okay, let's start the next guy and the next woman and so forth and so on, put their money together, their resources together to create wealth. And I see her doing that and trying to push that agenda with the Latino community. And I think it's an awesome thing to put your people first, and then, you're willing to help everyone else. And that's the same model my wife and I have. And I respect you for that. And you have the right mentality. Some people just want to make money for themselves. But I always tell people, you can only drive one car at a time. You can only live in one house at a time. You can't live everywhere. But when you create this wealth, what are you going to do with it? Who are you going to help? And I think you have a really good blueprint of what you're going to do when you make it. But I'm interested in hearing your story. But I'm going to bring in the one and only, my lovely queen, Arlene Williams, okay?
Yes.
See, I knew you was going to be happy. And what I want to say about Arlene is, you know her spirit. You know, you've been watching her as well. Arlene is a visionary as well. She's probably one of the greatest visionaries I've ever met. She's taught me a lot about, business acumen, taught me about punctuality. She wanted to be someone who was a translator. She speaks really good Spanish, although she's Jamaican, but she's very big on words, the law of words, where to put words and how to talk and tone and inflection, all those things. She's been my mentor for that. And she's an amazing visionary of her own. Okay, she's an aspiring, I would say, one of the most upcoming, brilliant fashion designers of the next generation. She's still working on that. But for now, what she does is, hold on, honey. Come on in here. Sorry about that. Here she is.
Hi, Arlene. How are you?
Yeah.
Besides gorgeous, obviously, right?
Right.
I love you so much.
Yeah, I was trying to finish, but she pushed me over. But you know what? But I must say, without this woman, I would not be the man I am today. She is a branding specialist. She specializes in branding, helping people create, their personality, their image, trying to get themselves out there. If you want to be a personality, she helps you with that. She's a marketing specialist, and there's a host of other things that she does. But branding and marketing is the main thing she focuses on right now, helping big businesses or small businesses get a bigger web presence and helping them create, good leads to generate sales. Because, in this market, without sales, you don't have a business.
Right.
So, there's so many other things I can say about her, but I'm going to let her speak for herself. And then she's going to read your bio. And then this is going to be short and simple, maybe 20 to 30 minutes. And we're going to ask you a few questions about yourself. And we'll take it from there. Okay?
Thank you.
Queen Arlene Williams.
Well,
go ahead.
I got the honor to read my sister's bio, but can I tell you, when I heard Jimmie in the background, first of all, he was like, I want somebody special to read Tash's bio.
Absolutely.
And can I tell you, from the beginning, when we first met Tash, when we first interacted with Tash, I kept thinking, I was like, okay, I want this to be a really special introduction.
Absolutely.
Like, Tash is not just...
Arlene, you're going to make me cry already. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So like the whole time while I was in the background and Jimmie was talking, so I was sitting and I'm thinking, and I'm like, okay, so I'm thinking of a way to just start this, okay? Because this is not just, like Tash, you know what I mean? So for those of you, and Tash knows exactly what I'm saying when I say this, because Tash speaks Spanish too, okay? So Tash is not just Tash Salas. This is Reina Familia, okay?
Totally. I feel the same way.
That is my sister.
All right.
Okay. So for those of you that don't understand what I just said, that is queen and that is family.
Absolutely.
Okay. That is queen and that is family.
Queen
so that is my sister. Okay.
Right.
Tash is queen and that is family. And that is who Tash has been from day one. Tash has been family for us, and she has been queen as well.
Absolutely.
So I get the honor to read her bio, even though Jimmie was like, could you just read her bio? And I'm like, read her bio? Are you kidding? Of course.
You are so awesome. You guys are so awesome.
You're awesome
such
too.
a sweetie.
Yeah.
So I get to read the bio. No glasses today. So Tash is a creative solver for impact entrepreneurs and investors in the US and Latin America. She's the president of Artha Consulting, a boutique firm specialized in sophisticated strategies for the very affluent for tax and risk mitigation. Additionally, Tash is the co-founder of Firme Group, a retirement planning startup for Latinos in the US that combines her advanced understanding of wealth and the cultural bridge to create stronger communities. She's a huge advocate for kindness and compassionate, and a pioneer leader in value-based wealth alignment. She graduated from law school with minor studies in economics, finance, and political science. Her biggest passion is sustainability, ESG, and elevating humanity. And as an immigrant, she specialized in helping her Latino community and her innovators and movers and shapers of the world. And Taj really is familia for us.
Absolutely.
She really is.
Thank you so much for that, Arlene. Thank you so
She
much.
said, Taj, I cannot wait for this interview. You just have no idea.
Absolutely.
Me neither.
Oh my God, I love you so much, sweetie pie. Okay, I promise no spotlight. So I'm just to everyone.
But you're going to stay here.
Oh, I'm going to stay here. Okay.
And the reason that is and Todd,
Yeah, you have to stay here, Arlene, of course.
this is what I was telling you about marriage. Sometimes it's like, I won't tell her to do certain things. She tells me, she pulls me in. I gotta just pull in. But I think I need her here. Here's why. Because when we ask you these few questions, we have a big Hispanic audience too, okay? Rocky Rendon out of Miami. Some other people out of Orlando. These are realtors who are my really good friends.
Claudio
we played it out for a second. Yeah,
yes.
Claudio Ordonez. And a few other people that I know around the country that are Hispanic, and they're really good friends of mine. They're either Puerto Rican or Cuban. And maybe the dialogue between you and Arlene, when you ask questions, you can say it in English and in Spanish because
Oh my gosh.
no, we're doing that because you don't know who's on the other end that they may not understand really good English. A lot of them do, okay, but you don't want to take that for granted. So proper communication will be great. If you notice at the bottom, I put all of the ways they can contact you, okay, through Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. But we want to pique their interest really, really quick. Because you can only do it sometimes in this world within 20 to 30 seconds if they pass by your video, okay?
Definitely.
Here's how we want to start this. We just want to have you just share with us, if you can, and I'll have Arlene ask questions, your story. I mean, we want to know about Taj, the person, when you grew up and how you were aspired to be a businesswoman.
Yes.
What pushed you to do that? But we want to hear, you can tell us the tough times if you want. Share what you want, but just be 100%. Taj, exactly. So you have the floor to start that out.
Yes.
Our signal's a little slow.
Yeah, I'll do that very briefly, but in a meaningful way that shares with the audience some golden nuggets so they can go out and implement them right away, right? So I am not an underdog. So that's my superpower, right? Like many times we're like thinking about who we are, but I thought about who I am in a very different way. Like I never thought about like, oh, what I don't have. I always thought like, oh, what do I have that other people don't?
Okay.
To, just like, that's how I want to go about exploring my world.
Okay.
Thinking in a positive way. So I always tell people like, I could say I'm an underdog because I'm an immigrant, I'm a Latina, I'm a woman in this terrible world of men, but I'm not. Actually, I am very privileged. I went to really great schools in Mexico, and that's thanks to my dad. I have no earned anything. I was just born into this wonderful familia, and my dad gave everything for our education. I can even share with people that sometimes we struggle about food because we decided to set our resources for the long term.
Yeah, okay.
So with that education, I went to law school, and then in law school, I had the opportunity to explore other careers such as economics, political science, finance, until the director of my career said, that's enough. You are an attorney. And I was like, no, I'm a creator. I'm a free spirit. And they were like, no, you are an attorney. So I finished law school, which, by the way, I went into thinking that I was going to save the world.
Okay.
I honestly just wanted to be an artist, right? Who doesn't?
Okay.
Being that creator and just manifest all your experiences, that would be so awesome. But in a way, going to law school and going through what I went to, which, by the way, I didn't like. It was 5 years of misery.
Wow.
Right? Because that was my perspective of what I was going through.
Okay.
I was like, I don't want to be an attorney. So I made myself miserable during my career because of my perspective.
Okay.
Years after, I realized how powerful it was having that experience and understanding how that career that I was not happy with actually shaped my mind to understand the world in a different way.
Okay.
So with that perspective, I started really, really feeling very empowered, because I would take situations, documents, information, and process it in a way that other people couldn't.
Wow, really? Okay.
Right? So, and then, you know, without really expecting it, I fell in love. And that's how I came to the United States, because to be honest, it was not a country or an experience that was in my like checklist, not at all. I actually always tell people, like, I was so patriotic, like, never gonna leave my country, this is not gonna happen for me. And then God, the universe, the circumstances just say, like, are you sure, darling? Are you sure of what you're thinking? And it just changed everything, right? So I got married, I came to the United States, and I don't know if I was like overwhelmed or overflowing in love, I should say, or I was just having all sorts of inputs from this new world for me, and all my senses starting just like to open up.
Okay.
Right? Then things happened. I got divorced, and I think I hit like a really, really low point in my life, because I realized that I was relying in a very big percentage in somebody else to make me feel better.
Yeah. Big mistake.
You know, to make me just feel important, to make me feel like I had something here in this country to look forward to. And, you know, everything in perspective, unfortunately, because many times we don't have time to process that. Yeah. But then we split up, and he's a really nice man. He still helps me, blessings to him. Okay. But then I decided that I wanted to stay here no matter what, but I have to figure out my way.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Right. So now you see me with my own consulting firm, and, you know, actually doing pretty well. But my first job here in the United States after my divorce was in an Amazon warehouse lifting boxes.
Wow, really?
Wow.
Whoa.
Interesting.
And that was like the moment where my whole ego was shaken.
Yeah.
You know, like when they say like God will put you in your knees, and yes, definitely I fell on my knees and I said, why am I here? You know, what lesson, what good am I not seeing from being here, from being in this situation? And I would cry, Jimmie, and I would cry, and I would pray. I would go to the manager and say, I'm working from 2 a.m. to 8 a.m.
Wow.
I need more hours because I'm not able to pay my rent. Because California is not cheap, right? It's paying for the dream. Yeah. But they were really tough months where I had no clue what I was doing. I could tell you my energy was totally unaligned with who I was, with what I was getting out of life, right? Just like what I was receiving, it was not me.
Of course. Wow.
So, and then I just found like these, I said like accident, right? It was like a job in insurance, which for my culture, selling insurance is like almost worse than selling drugs, right? It's like, oh, you're selling insurance, dude. Right? So I was like, yeah, oh my God, I'm selling insurance. But really what happened to me in that job that I didn't want is that God gave me a way to financially get stable. Yeah. Which honestly, it's not that I'm saying like, oh, I got rich. No, but when you're not surviving, then you have time to focus in something else. And that's the opportunity that I had with that job. And I realized that I really wanted to help people.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, okay, now I can eat. Okay, now I guess I can help somebody else, right? Oh, thank God.
Right. But Tash, you said from the very beginning of the conversation, you started to talk about perspective. And I don't know why, but that word has just been kind of ringing in my mind. And it seems that all of your experiences that you've been through, it seems like your perspective has been affected. You working in the warehouse, you know what I mean, was a humbling perspective. You know what I mean? Because it was to teach you something, even though it was humbling, but it was to teach you something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You growing up the way that you have it was to affect your perspective. You taking the job selling insurance was affecting your perspective. And then you working with Amway was, again, perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we may perceive certain things a certain way in life. And then it's like when we're handed certain things, it's all of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm perceiving this one way, but then maybe it's like, okay, maybe this is the universe telling me to perceive this a different way.
Right,
you know what I
right,
mean?
Right.
At least that's what I'm learning from what you're telling me, you know?
Totally. And you know what, Arlene? I think perspective for me, it's a key word.
Mm-hmm.
And it has like variations, right?
Yeah.
It has variations because sometimes we learn through pain or perspective.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. So because I never really like pain, and I don't know who does out there, then we have to learn by perspective.
Yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And sometimes perspective takes many, many years. So for example, the first time I came to my mom and dad and say, hey mom, hey dad, I'm so sorry, I was just a kid. It really took me like 15, 20 years to get to that point and, you know, come back to them and not really knowing what they went through, but just being humble enough to say, I bet it was hard. And thank you so much for doing that with so much love.
Yeah.
So it might take 20 years, or it might take 2 years, or it might take a month, or it might take 1 second to realize what's actually happening for us and how can we empower other people and ourselves in certain situations.
Yeah.
So the beauty of perspective is that it might come anytime.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And of course, it comes just from a very humbling person, open to go through, I don't want to call it pain, but to go through that experience.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do remember, you know, I was working in Amazon and it was like 3 a.m. and I was just kind of falling asleep because actually to get there, I had to drive for an hour. So I actually had to wake up at 12:30 and then just go work. And, you know, I'm like this attorney from Mexico City. Like I live in a penthouse and then I'm working in Amazon.
Right. Wow.
And, like if that's not humbling enough, I have no clue what else is. But just not to make it enough, I open my Instagram and I'm looking at my friends from college going to Harvard, Stanford, Oxford, and I finally see the picture of this lady, which by the way is a really great friend, and she's in the UN as an attorney, advocating for women's rights.
Mm-hmm.
And I just start crying. I'm like, what the heck am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just surviving. Like, I'm not doing anything for anyone or for myself. This has to stop.
Mm-hmm.
But even though you feel like that in that moment, you're like, yeah, sure, it has to stop, but how? Right? How? And then what I did is like, I didn't try to figure it out. I would just go home and pray every single day. Like, you tell me how, sir. Like, you tell me how, and I'll just do it. And when I say God, sir, universe, it honestly is whatever you feel. Like it's a power for you. Like it's working for you, with you. You know, I don't have a specific name. I just use it because, hey, it's a pretty easy, cool word, right? Like G-O-D, God, super easy. But you can call it however. There's different names and everything is the same. It's the source of that powerful energy that helps us move forward. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, you know, after a few years of working for an insurance company, I realized that it was not the only thing I could be doing.
Okay.
And it really had to do like with the intrinsic values of the company. I just felt like at some point I was not aligned with that. Right. And it didn't resonated with me. So I started figuring something else out. And that is actually when I met you guys. I got into real estate thinking it's so easy. Everybody can do it. Right. And then my path really started shaping into what it is today, which was, well, I might not be the best wholesaler, but hell, I know my numbers. Right. So and then I was like, well, why not just helping real estate investors or investors that are looking to actually create an impact, not just for themselves, but for the world, with what I'm really good at, which is numbers and contracts and insurance.
Good. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm just sitting here. I don't know what to say. I'm just sitting here.
Wow.
I said it was going to be short, but it was not short. So I apologize for that.
Oh, no.
No, we want to hear as much as we can about you. And I'm pretty sure the people that's listening want to hear more about you too. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to answer in Spanish and in English if you can. Can you do that for me?
Yeah.
What is your deepest passion right now as far as an assignment that you feel that you have to do, let's say between now and the next 3 years? There's so many things, but I'm just saying one of the top thing you feel you have to do. I know it's a big question.
Yeah.
And I'm asking because you're a visionary. That's why I'm asking. Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a big question, but that's like how I wake up every single day. So one day I just said, like, what thing would I love to do if I had to do it for the rest of my life?
Mm-hmm.
And that would be to be a bridge of mindset, culture, knowledge for those looking to go further. En español, ¿verdad? La misión, mi propósito principal para los siguientes 3 años sería poder ser el puente que ayude a las personas a cruzar para aquellas que quieran ir más lejos.
Wow.
Okay. Respond. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, it's not easy because you do have to step up for other people. Like, not just for yourself, you can wake up and feel happy and that's it.
All right.
But you have to be a freaking better person. You have to push even further, put more energy, put more enthusiasm to what you're doing, to be contagious, to be able to elevate from an energy perspective those that are vibrating low. And bring them up, not necessarily to where you're at, because you're now like a particle, right? Like all the time, just like moving and shaking and excited, but get them somewhere higher. And that is really hard. And I embrace the challenge.
That's one of the reasons why I love you so much, what you're doing. I've been watching that. Visionaries think a little bit different. Or I would say someone who wants to build a Fortune 500 company, someone who wants to do something great for society. Visionaries are on the other side. They're thinking about, what can I do for other people?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I could create a living for myself. But if you're not a visionary, and it's no knock on them that want to go provide for the families and that's it, but they're not necessarily thinking about, how can I go out and help 1,000 other lives? They're thinking about just them and their family, which is okay. But it's a lot more sacrifice. It takes a lot more, I think, not just getting out there, but you have to do more due diligence. You have to understand how systems work. You have to be willing to buy into your own vision and to lay it down. My wife and I have 25 or 30 employees, and guess what? There are some weeks where we don't hardly get paid anything, but we make sure that they get paid. Why? Because they have families, and it's integrity. They have to get paid. Okay. So let me finish, honey.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it's not just investing in your vision as an individual. You're investing in other people's vision as well.
Absolutely.
So it requires a lot of energy on both sides. You know what I mean? You become invested as a visionary in seeing beyond, in taking the vision forward, but you also become invested in the people that are around you in their vision. So you actually, you're literally absorbing from the other people and literally taking up and trying to figure out, okay, so how do I get them to the next plateau? How do I get them to the next point? How do I get them to the next? And even if it, depending on people's learning capacity.
Absolutely.
Because everyone learns differently. So not everyone will receive from you as a visionary the way you want them to.
Right.
I mean, you can impart, but it doesn't necessarily mean that people will be motivated to learn the way you want them to.
Right.
Definitely.
Makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. Actually, let me tell you 2 things that another amazing human being keeps saying, and that it just resonates with me. His name is Michael Beckwith.
Okay.
And he is the founder of Agape TV, which he's also an African American. And oh my God, his gospel is just like blows my mind. But he said two things. The first one is, if the world forces you to separate people between givers and takers, rush to be a giver.
Wow.
Because the universe will always put something in your hands to give. Well, if you take the taker side, the universe will make sure that your hands are empty so you can keep taking, right?
Wow.
So being a giver, right? Yeah, like, oh my God, like that really blows my mind. Like, you have to be a giver. And when you care about people, the universe somehow will provide something for you to share. Which it doesn't matter what it is. It could be food, it could be some money, it could be some knowledge, but rush to be a giver.
That is
right.
There always will be opportunities for you to give. Always. There'll never be shortage of opportunities for you to be able to give or to sow or to help someone in need. There'll never be shortages of that. I mean, it's on the opposite side where it becomes a problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
And honestly, not even really being a problem.
Yeah.
It's more like a situation that without the whole picture, we might think like, well, this is not right. And you're right. Like, that's not right. There's something happening to you in that moment, but in the big scheme of things, it's happening for you because there's something better coming to you, right? So when you shift your mind to think like that, yes, there's bad things that will happen to you, like, of course, right? But you're going to be able to see, what is this for? Like, I really needed to go through this to grow into this person, to experience this situation. And a lot of people say like, oh, now you're just like connecting dots that are not there. I'm like, sorry, I'm just seeing dots that you don't see. And that's fine. You know, that's fine, totally fine. It's each person's perspective. And again, perspective is really a crucial concept.
Yes.
Well, visionaries don't fit in a box either. They're outside the box, and they're thinking, they're calculating everything outside of just themselves. And if you're a visionary, and if it's all about you, and you can't, if it's not bigger than you, that's really not a vision. I think it's more of a, it's, and I hate to use the word selfish, but being selfish, there's a good way to be selfish and a bad way. I think the good way is to, okay, I'm going to protect my wife and my family and everything, and I think it's okay for us to make sure we have. But the bad selfish is, I don't want anybody else to have anything else. Visionaries think the opposite. What can we create? What can we grow to affect generations in our communities? And it's bigger than us. In other words, you're not going to be able to control the vision once it gets out of hand, in a good way, because it outgrows you.
Yeah.
Salas is you're developing something great for not just the Latino community, but for all people, right? And when you leave here, your legacy will be that she created this, and it's going. If you look at some of the stuff in Hollywood, I'm just using this as an example, some of the studios, Warner Brothers, and all, those guys are gone, right? But my wife and I watch Looney Tunes all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 45 years old and I'm a big kid. My wife, last night I was like, I want to watch Bugs Bunny, And those guys back in the day, it was only 2 or 3 of those guys, and one guy was Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd, and the same guy, he just changed his voice, And I'm thinking, if he didn't have the vision for that, we wouldn't have that today, and it brings laughter and joy, and that's the point I'm getting at. But it has to start with you, and so.
And let me put in different words what you just said, Jimmie, because I love it. But again, I love just like sharing some perspective to what you just shared with me, and thank you. Creating, creators. Okay, we all have that power.
Yes.
Right. Yes. When you say visionary, it's a word that I really like and embrace. And just thinking about what's behind these visionaries, right?
Yes.
There's an immense and infinite source of love
Yes.
to be able to create, right?
Oh.
Something that somebody else will just take. So these creators are givers for somebody else. So a visionary is really an entity full of unconditional love, willing, ready to create something to give to everybody else.
Powerful. Wow.
So we all have it, we all have it. That's not a question. But the key is, are we really here now creating or taking?
Woo! Wow. Say that again.
Are we here creating or taking?
Say that to our Spanish brothers and sisters, please. I want to get this.
A ver, familia, estamos aquí en este mundo.
Yes.
¿Creando o consumiendo?
Yeah. Wow.
Somos fuente. Are we source of something? Or we're just consumers? O solo consumimos?
Yeah.
And honestly, there's no person that has passed to history that has not been a creator. I've never heard anybody saying like, oh yeah, that was a great taker.
No.
What are you talking about, right? Like all the figures that we have in history that we know in this human world are people that were unconditional love towards a group of people, a cause, a creature, an idea. They were just trying to give more of what they thought they learned and they wanted to share.
Amazing. I want us to take a pen right there. Before we talk about your services and what you provide, what you do, because we want these listeners to be able to see if they, see if they can contact you and use your services, because you have a lot to give. I'm going to ask my wife to ask you a question in Spanish and have some dialogue that way for the Spanish listeners. Just ask her a question. And then you can come back and she'll tell me what it means in English. She keeps saying not yet. Please, honey, just a simple.
Well, you can say it in English, Arlene, and then I'll translate it.
Yes.
No, actually, I this is just a question that I am curious about. Actually, and I wanted to know why did you feel drawn to law?
Right.
Why did you feel drawn to law? I'm curious.
Yeah, you know what, Arlene? That's a great question. I have to be super honest, and I think it wasn't me. Okay. I was feisty. I think I'm still feisty. So in my school, when your parents get divorced, because it was the old times, you would have to go to therapy and all these things. Yeah. And then the therapist, she just keeps saying like, oh, she would be a great attorney. And I'm assuming because it's like when she was asking me questions, I was asking her questions back. She's like, oh, this little 9-year-old, can you please shut her up? She should be an attorney.
Really?
And then my dad, being a doctor and just kind of following the professional line, he was like, yeah, you're pretty feisty. You should be an attorney. And then I just washed my brain enough to think that the world is shaped by many factors, but one of them important in society is law.
Yeah.
So I just assumed that was going to be a very powerful tool for me to save the world.
Okay. Wow.
So in reality, I didn't pick it. I actually came to my dad and I said, Dad, I want to be an artist. And he said, hell no. So I have to figure something else out, right? So that's the honest question. But again, things are happening for us the whole time. Like I wouldn't be half the person I am without really having, like I wouldn't be able to help people the way I want to if I didn't have that superpower.
Yeah. Because I almost see you more, you know how some people, so there are people that are attorneys and there are people that are advocates. And I almost see you more in the category of an advocate.
Yeah.
And I was actually like, I became that with my own companies. So I became an advocate for sustainability. I became an advocate for women's inclusion, but just from the private sector. I decided that I didn't have to fight with anybody. I would just have to create something so people can jump in and take advantage of my creation.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow, that is so powerful.
Wow.
And it's and I just think it's because of this passion in you, and because you stand for things, and then people pick up the vision so quickly because they see it. They already see it. They see the passion, and they're like, wow, I can connect with that. And even me coming from a marketing standpoint, the easiest way to market is to be able to connect. If you can't connect with your audience, then you're not a good marketer.
Right.
You know, the whole marketing is connections.
Yeah.
Actually, you probably know more than I do in this matter, but it has shifted, right? Like now they don't call it marketing or connection; they call it engagement.
Yes, that is true. That is absolutely true. It is.
And engagement in Spanish is hard because it needs to have that second word that means conexión emocional, like emotional connection, right? So it's that engagement. I always tell people, like, I'm in finance. So I am not surprised that you're lying to me saying that you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
But what drags you towards me is that energy that you're like confused about, and you're like, what's going on here? Like, I want to understand more.
Yes.
Right? So there's definitely that component. And then that's usually what happens in life. You know, you don't have to understand everything. You just like start getting closer and closer to people that resonate, that vibrate where you're vibrating or where you need. And that's honestly, like, I just want to come back to like how we met a little bit, and how we were, and we keep being in the same like vibrational, like, I don't know how to say, but like format almost, like we just keep vibrating and we're elevating ourselves. And so we just keep vibrating with the same people.
Yes.
You know?
That is so true. That is so true. It's almost, I want to say a connection of passion, but for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
But I like how you said with the frequencies, because that's really what it is. We keep attracting the same people. We keep connecting in the same wavelengths. We keep moving in the same circles. And there's a reason for that.
Yeah. And honestly, also admitting to yourself, like, it's okay to lose people on the way.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
And you're not losing them. It's just there's a wall when we're not able to help people a little bit more.
Yes.
And just going back to Michael Beckwith, the second thing that he says that I absolutely love is that life, perspective, understanding cannot be taught.
Yes.
It can only be caught.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you can hear the same thing over and over and over and over. And one day you catch it.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, it's not something new, but this time you were ready to catch it.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes.
So I love putting this content out here, and I love Jimmie, and I love you, Arlene, so much, because you guys are creators, you guys are visionaries, you guys are givers, and it doesn't matter how many people see you. It just takes one idea from like for one person to change all his world or all her world. And that person might be the next, Gandhi or Martin Luther King. Like, we really don't know.
Right.
So, and we really don't have to know. Like, that's the beauty of it. We don't have to know. We don't have to understand everything to still put wonderful blessings out there for people to just come and grab.
Wow. It's funny. So we're having all this conversation about vibration and growth and so forth like that. I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today, and you don't know this, Tash, but at the very beginning of this year, January 3rd of this year, okay, so God had spoke to me on the 3rd of this year about writing a book. So I don't tell anybody about this. I haven't said anything to anybody, and I've been privately writing a book. I've been in the middle of writing a book, and basically this book is all about a lot of what Jimmie and I kind of have been through our life story, but it's from a sort of a teaching standpoint. It's been our life testimony, if I can put it for lack of a better word, has been about sowing and reaping, if I could coin that. And
Yep.
our story has been about it, the way the analogy that God kind of broke it down to me has been about trees and the pruning process and so forth. And about 2 months ago, my husband loves, if you come to our house, which eventually you'll have to come to our house. I love fresh flowers. I'm a flower person.
Yeah.
Jimmie will tell you I have fresh flowers in all of my rooms.
Oh, yeah.
I have vases with flowers.
Yeah.
That's just me. When he takes pictures of me, when we get flowers in the house, I love to arrange the flowers. I'm such a girly girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when the seasons change, I'm getting hydrangeas, I'm getting roses, I'm getting tulips, I'm getting lilies, I have allergies like nobody's business, okay, but I love flowers. Jimmie also bought me 2 bonsai trees. I've never cared for trees before, but I believe that gene is in me because my mother was really into plants and trees and so forth like that. So I've been very delicately watching the YouTube videos and trimming the trees and watering the trees and, you know, talking to my plants and everything, because that's my thing. And part of my learning about taking care of these plants and these trees in talking to you and what you're talking about is embracing the pruning process. Because I love these plants and these trees, but part of growing means cutting back too. Part of the growth process, what you just said earlier about it's okay for people to fall away and it's okay for things and circumstances and situations, it's okay for things to fall away. Part of that is it's okay for us to embrace things first, things to be pruned from our lives. Right. It's okay for us to embrace things to fall away, because you can't expect to see growth to happen without things being pruned away, without things. Right. It's just a natural part of life. And I did not understand it, or maybe I did, but you know, you don't kind of put it together until you literally see it in action. Right. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And you know what, Arlene, I love these, and I'm going to say it in Spanish because it sounds cooler, but then I'll translate it. It's not about the momento, it's about the momentum. So if we're focused in what's going on wrong in that moment, we're going to lose all the powerful momentum that we have already created to let things grow. Now, they're not going to grow as we have in mind that they should. They're just going to grow in a beautiful way, but we should not focus in the moment and in momento. We should focus in the momentum.
That's right.
And just let it be, and surrendering to that. With really surrendering, because people say like, yeah, I accepted things, but wait, but nobody asked you to accept things. We ask you to surrender.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And people tell me like, hey, how do you surrender? Each one surrenders differently. You ask that question to the universe, you'll get your answer. Mine is different.
Yep. I love it. Love it.
Just love hearing you talk, man. Powerful stuff. I want to reiterate something you said earlier, and I think it's something important. I think business owners or business people or people that are professionals, doctors and attorneys and all those people, because they're all important, need to hear this. I think sometimes when you grow up, you can get the influence from your parent or people who loved ones telling you, stay away from that creative side. Don't you think about being an artist or musician or an actor. Well, can you imagine how dull this place would be without those people in existence?
Yeah.
And I said that to say this to you. Probably didn't know this, but I went to the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale. Okay, my wife went to FIT in New York City. So we are bona fide artists. I mean, I actually, you know, I was married before. This is the woman I'm with today and the last one. I'm not getting married again. But I was with my first wife for quite a while, and I was a full-time artist, an entrepreneur artist on campus at the University of Florida, doing portraits, and all of that. And, you know, and I made a living with it for 2 years, but I made up in my mind I was going to understand the business side of things. All the other artists were starving. They call them starving artists. And that wasn't when I set out a goal to make money doing it. And what I'm getting at is that the Father in heaven gives you the gift to be an artist. You have to find a way to incorporate that into the business world. You know, I think the fear, and people mean well, especially family members, they mean well, but sometimes they're terribly wrong, because this world needs the artistic creativity. Go outside and all of them. Who do you think created all these trees and they're changing colors and all that? And he gives us that same ability to create. So in business, what we found was when we took those same gifts and abilities and started companies, which we have about 8 of them right now, incorporate the creative side, the creative genius to go along with it, it works out very well. So I'm happy that, you know, your dad said, well, don't you be an artist, but I think you found a way to engraft that into what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think it works, because without the
nice balance.
Yeah, the creativity it's critical, man, because you just can't be dull. And I know people say, well, the professionals make more money, but those professionals, sometimes they get locked into a system where if they get sick and they can't work, that paycheck stops coming. Well, if you're an artist and you have residuals and you have intellectual property, right? People like Bob Marley, he's been dead for a long time, but he's still making a ton of money. That's because he's an artist. He was an artist, and he found the system was in place where he's still getting money even when he's not here. Well, I think we need to take those same principles and apply them to business, right? I think a person like you with the creative genius you have, you should continue to write books. I'm not sure if you wrote one yet, and continue to build your platforms and, you know, not CDs is old school, but audios, and sell them, Amazon and things of that nature, because, you know, you're changing lives one life at a time, and you should be paid something for it. I'm a firm believer that if you put the work in, then there should be some rewards for you, but it's not going to compare to the lives you're going to touch. Yeah. So I think creativity, they call it.
I want to touch on that, Jimmie, because,
Sure.
You know, I think there is a problem in concepts. And I know this because, again, I'm an attorney and we are very punctual with concepts, words, you know.
Yeah.
So we believe that artist is just this person working with a job in a creative space.
Gotcha.
Right? So we tell people, like, don't be an artist, because what they're saying is, like, you're going to have a low paid job.
Of course.
Right? But in reality, what artists, when you're a kid and you're saying, like, I want to be an artist, that's just the name that you've understand from society. But what you're really telling, and I learned this with my story, is like what you're really saying to the world and to yourself is like, I want to be a creator. That creativity, let's put it from like the roots, right? The roots of the word, like creativity. What are you doing? You're creating things. Absolutely. So what you're really trying to be, it's a creator. But the society told you that artists do that. No. Right. Creators are everywhere. So it's not where you are at. Mm-hmm. You can be a doctor. You can be an attorney. You can be anything. And as long as you allow yourself to be creator, to be creative, you're going to be happy. You're going to allow the abundance of the universe of your career, and you're going to really, really grow. Because I know broke doctors.
Yeah.
I know broke attorneys. I know, like, it's not a guarantee.
Right.
And I also know a lot of artists that are so wealthy.
Right.
And it's just because of that, like, frequency of allowing being creator. Right. And we can all do it. I think that's important. I grew up with my father, who's a doctor with 3 different specialties, very technical, very sophisticated. And that part of creativity, he doesn't recognize it like that, but it's definitely there. Like, you don't reach the level that my dad reached following the crowd.
That's awesome. I love it.
And that's what I really, really see from second one in what you and Arlene are creating. Like, you are creators. You put creativity out there. But most importantly, you're putting it out there as an open source for people to come take what they need. And I just think that's beautiful.
We feel the same way about you, my sister. You are awesome. I couldn't have, man, this is a good way to restart my show because I've done several shows, but this is by far.
I know.
And so what I want to do now is I want to take a moment and just ask you, you know, a little bit about your services that you're currently engaging in now for the audience. And you can say it in English and in Spanish and tell them a little bit about how they can reach you. I put your Instagram, you know, Facebook, Twitter, all at the bottom, but go into a little detail of what you're doing now. And you don't really have to talk about pricing, but, you know, let them know what you're doing and how they can get it. Okay?
Yeah, thank you so much for that opportunity. The best way to reach me for let's say technical stuff, like finance stuff, tax stuff, is definitely LinkedIn.
Okay. LinkedIn.
And there's not too many like me, so you can just type Tash Salas and there's like 5. So that should be easy. And in terms of everything else, which I think it's way more important, like if you actually want to approach what we're doing, right? And we're not just like doing finance, we are actually shaping communities.
Okay.
Right? So for that, I think the best way is definitely YouTube because it allows me to answer questions easier. So go to this video and all the comments, all the questions that you have, it's probably best to put them here rather than Instagram. Instagram is like an accepting. And so let's focus in 2 platforms. Let's focus on YouTube. So go to your channel, subscribe to Jimmie's channel, tick, tick. And then you can start commenting and we'll answer more questions over there. And then for more technical stuff, LinkedIn is easier for me. Now, what do I do? Well, I have a lot of knowledge about the financial industry, right? And some of the most sophisticated techniques because they come from regulation to save taxes, right? And to protect risk. And I am specialized because that's what I choose to do for impact investors, right? Like you can be uber wealthy and I don't give up. You have to be doing something for somebody else, right? That's the goal. Like I'm willing to help people mitigate an immense amount of taxes if you're doing something for somebody else. If that money will come back and be put somewhere where it works for somebody. How do I do it? Well, you would have to actually study this like for 10 or 15 years to understand it. But what I have to say is like we use financial, legal, and insurance instruments to create structures that will just blow your bank account.
Really?
And then for the mainstream, for people like everybody, right? Like everybody who wants to have a dignified and impactful or meaningful retirement. It doesn't matter when, like I'm not saying when you're 65 or 40, like whenever you think that you want to retire, give yourself at least 20 years to plan that.
Okay.
And we'll help you have a very elegant retirement.
Wow.
So I'm sure like a lot of people don't want to work at Target when they're 85 years old.
Exactly.
But that's happening though. That's happening. Like it sounds funny. It's not funny. It's actually, it worries me. And I'm not just focused in the Latino community. I think for me, I focus in the Latino community. And I think this is important, Jimmie and Arlene, because a universal principle is that you learn by teaching, right? So I try to teach my community to learn more about myself. Because who they are, it's who I am. You know, it comes in your blood, it comes in your genes, it comes in your history. So you are helping the African American community because you're first learning. Once we learn a lot, then we'll be able to expand to other communities. So I'm focusing love, I'm focusing kindness, I'm focusing anybody that wants my help. But I know for my personal journey, helping Latinos, it's part of my initial growth.
Awesome. That's fantastic. I'd love to hear that.
And definitely, we would love to talk with you more about our own personal portfolio.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? One more thing, Jimmie and Arlene, what you guys are doing, it's seriously awesome because at least for the Latino community, which I know very well, real estate, it's a matter of a few bricks
Yes. Yes.
But the way that you really, really create wealth in real estate, and now you guys know that, and that's why you guys are like moving forward with these other businesses that I'm not sure I can talk about or not, but finance in real estate, it's really where the opportunities are. There's very few assets in the world that you can leverage as you can leverage real estate.
Yeah.
So for those that are thinking about it, guys, if you're already drawn to it, just go for it. Worst thing that can happen is you get a really good lesson in your life. That's what you're here for, right?
Yeah.
And having you and Arlene just like a very like approachable coach, it's awesome because we want to be mentored by Warren Buffett. Dude, Warren Buffett's not gonna pay attention. You're not even like in his, no. So anyone around you, they have to understand that you guys are literally a blessing and a source that I'm not saying you guys are gods, but you are a source of creativity. So for all those watching, take advantage. It doesn't come how we want. It just comes how it has to be.
Yeah. Oh, we feel the same way about you. I mean, it's like, wow, I was thinking, man, if I contact her now, she may be too busy for us. And the Taj we knew 2 years ago, you were powerful, but you're like that times 10 now. You've been you've been growing yourself. I can tell you've been listening to videos. I can tell that you've been active because that's how you grow. You got to get the right material into your subconscious mind, into your brain, in your mind, and then you have to act on it. You have to plan and surround yourself with the right people. We've noticed that you've been doing those things. So, and as people grow and get to different levels, it's not personal. You just can't work with everybody. The higher you go up, I hate to say this, but it's true. The higher you go up, you're not alone by yourself, but the crowd gets fewer and fewer as you get higher because there's more responsibility up there. And some people, they want it without the responsibility and putting the work in, the mental work, and then the physical work. I'm not talking about work so hard, but working smart. And we've noticed tremendous growth in you. And I'm going to highly recommend, guys, if you're listening to this, Taj is a good source, and you really need to listen to what she has to say and be willing to learn, because I have several mentors today. There's no way in the world we're going to know, you're just not going to get all the information.
Yep.
You're going to learn bits and pieces. And like you said, some things are caught, not taught. But when we're 95 and 100 years old, there's so much going to be changing and evolving, especially with the internet space and the technology space that we're in now. Things keep changing. We're not going to know it all. But Taj, you're a really good source, for this knowledge and information. And let me just tell the crowd a little bit about the direction my wife is really went in, because you wanted to know if we could talk about it. So I can share it, and then I want to talk about how I think I want to work with you myself to see what you can do to help us, and you give us some guidance, some mentorship on what we should do with our assets. Okay, so this year alone we went and we invested in about 40 tech companies. Okay, so we took some of our finances and put a little less than 20 grand into some major ones. And that's a pretty good chunk of change, because, if you look at the trajectory of where they're going in a couple of years from now, that portfolio of 20 grand could be worth 150, 200,000. So that money's just sitting there. That money's working for us. Okay, we can't really touch it. But other than that, we are, we're trying to invest in Africa right now. Okay. And other nations around the world, because there are easier ways to own property without having to pay yearly taxes. A lot of people don't know this. And these properties are brand new, and for a fraction of the price of what you would pay in the U.S. Just to give an example, there's certain parts of Africa right now, I'm talking the very nice areas, the areas you don't see on television. You can buy a brand new house in a gated community for $50,000. Okay, 4 2 bedrooms. Some places in South America, really, really nice. And all you pay for, you're just paying for your water, and no, not the water, because it comes with a well. The water's free. All you pay for is the electric. And so we are trying to galvanize and buy properties in other regions of the world, so to build our portfolio that way. Now, one of the latest things we want to do is we're trying to take some of our money and put it in the stock market, but because it's been going up and down, we've been kind of like backing off.
Yeah.
All right. So we took a pause on that right now. Fourthly, multifamily property. I think that will be the area that we want to work with you with, because now that we've structured ourselves we've built business credit on the corporations that we've acquired, not just personal credit, but business credit. And, A lot of people don't understand when you have good business credit, you can get multifamily properties that you normally couldn't get just based on your personal credit.
Mm-hmm.
We still need some guidance and we need some help with that because we want to set ourselves up in 2021 to be able to help thousands of people, not to have high rents. If we can own a big building, we can have to actually lower the rent to help some people. That's what we want to do and create wealth at the same time. So those are some of the areas that we want to work with you on to get some guidance on it. We want to buy another 10 businesses next year, because we're trying to do things. We're trying to set ourselves up where we can just help millions of people, not thousands. That's the vision. That's the vision we've had for many, many years. And Taj, just a year ago, it was really, really hard to pay the rent, but we never gave up. And like you said, it's a process. We tried about 100 different opportunities. I've had about 50 jobs in my 45 years of living. She's had about 20 or 30. Mm-hmm. And we tried about 50 different businesses. The last 2-3 businesses that we started succeeded. That was over the last 2 years, and so we really need to get to that next level. And I think you're an intricate part of that. Mm-hmm. Are you willing to help us with that?
Definitely. And let me just tell something to the crowd. Yeah. First of all, guys, if you've reached this point and you haven't subscribed, what the heck? Just go ahead and subscribe now. And the other thing I want to say, Jimmie, is that I've seen your journey and I've seen other journeys and I experienced my own. Mm-hmm. And things don't get easier.
Right.
We just get stronger. And this is cliche and I know it, and it's fine because one day people will understand what we're talking about. Uh-huh. So yes, there's days like when I was working in the warehouse where I didn't know what I was going to eat. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how I was going to pay my rent. Mm-hmm. And I had to cry for extra 2 hours of work.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Right? But things can change in 24 hours, but they won't if you don't start. Mm-hmm. That's important. Things can change in 24 hours, but they won't if you don't start. And you have to start putting the work here. Mm-hmm. Yes, you can drive like crazy. You can move. You can do many, many physical things, mm-hmm. but you're just going towards the same things that you have here. Mm-hmm. Wow. So, yeah.
Please, what you just said, because I want these guys to get this. Rocky Rendon, I hope you're listening to this. Go ahead.
In Spanish?
Yes, please.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Entonces, todos podemos ir corriendo como loquitos por todo el mundo, sin saber a dónde ir, moviendo cosas, haciendo, pero no tenemos ninguna dirección. Mm-hmm. El trabajo empieza en poner una brújula en nuestra mente para que sepamos a dónde vamos. Así, even if we go slow, aunque vayamos despacio, we know where we're going. Mm-hmm. Sabemos a dónde vamos. We're not going to get lost. No nos vamos a perder. ¿Verdad? Entonces, we have to first have a direction. That doesn't mean we cannot change it later. Mm-hmm. But you have to stop running. Like, okay, if you want to go to LA and you don't have your GPS and I leave you alone in the middle of the desert, mm-hmm. man, you're lost. It doesn't matter how fast your car is. You're lost.
Exactly. Wow. Exactly.
You know? So you have to take your GPS, your mental GPS, create a map for yourself and say, where am I going? Like, is there going to be traffic? Can I take a different route? Yes, you can. But first figure out how you're going to get there.
Amazing.
Right? So you can buy the best car, mm-hmm. and you're going to get lost. You're actually just going to jump faster to the cliff.
To the cliff.
To the cliff, right? So being very intentional in finding direction, it starts with working with your mind, for your mind, with better minds than yours, and being humble enough to accept those opportunities mm-hmm. if they come to you. If you're still very comfy on your couch,
yeah,
well, it's great, but let me tell you something. There's billions or trillions or a number we cannot even think of, mm-hmm. of people wanting to come to this world to experience this human reality, to go through the pain, go through their perspective, to create, to be themselves. Mm-hmm. You have that chance today. What the heck are you doing?
Wow.
Put yourself out there.
Man, I don't want to let you go. I mean, I'm really, really excited. I'm just going to recap what I learned. So you said it doesn't get easier. We just get stronger. That is a revelation, man. Because some people think as you get higher, it gets more complicated, but you become stronger as a person because of the trial and tribulation. That's what I got from that, right? Number two, you said that you have to start somewhere. You have to do something. And that's, we're firm believers in Hebrews chapter 11, okay? Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word. And then without faith, it's impossible to please him. But faith without works is dead. So it means people, oh, I got faith, I believe, and they're just sitting on their couch and they're not thinking about starting a business. That's not faith at all. So I got from you that you have to actually do something. And then you said you have to get around greater minds than your own. That's huge, because some people think that, I'll get in the room with 10 or 15 people, I'm the smartest man in the room. I think if I get in the room and I'm the smartest, I'm in the wrong room. I need to be in the room with Taj and Warren Buffett, But I really appreciate you, Taj. And we're going to be closing now. But do you do coaching classes? And if you do, is there a certain number they can call you? And you don't have to talk about the price, but because I'm pretty sure, but you have to charge something, I would hope, because this information, you're not going to, you can hear people talk about it on YouTube, but to have a one-on-one session with a coach like yourself, that's priceless. So do you do that? And if so, is there a phone number you want to give out, or do you want to give out your email address? Some people are not comfortable with the
website.
Or website.
Yes. So I don't do it. And the reason why I don't do it, Jimmie, is because money cannot pay my time.
Okay.
But I am willing, and I've done it before, I'm willing to help people or to support people in their journey to get somewhere else. Again, my goal is really to be a bridge, but I'm not going to walk your path. You have to put the work, right? So yeah, definitely people can contact me in any of these platforms. They can contact me.
Okay.
I don't do coaching as the traditional business. I usually tell people, and in a very humble way,
yeah,
you cannot afford me.
right.
Right. And I could charge $2, but even then, like, my time for a blind and just like closed mind, it doesn't do anything. So they won't see my value because they think it's about me and it's about what they want to do. So for those that want cheap things and free things, just keep watching my videos.
I love it, Tash.
You got me cracking.
I love it.
Right?
Yeah.
I love it.
we're putting it out here for people that come and watch it, and they need to catch a few things. But I'm not going to go one-on-one with people that are not willing to put the work and the money and the resources.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, man, you were something special. I'm going to go. Last year, you remember when last year we started the Facebook group? It's about 20,000 members now. And for 6 months, my wife and I, she told me, Jimmie, you got to do some coaching. I said, I'm going to do 6 months for free coaching. Man, was that I don't want to say it was a mistake, but it wore me out. So every Thursday I would open up, people could call me between 1 and 4 to ask any question about fix and flip and hard money loans and how to buy multifamily property. And at the end of every Thursday, I couldn't breathe. It was like, I couldn't, it was going, And she said, enough of that. You got to start charging. And even when I charge, for some reason, you're right. The people on the other end, they think, oh, he's just trying to get something from me. When you're trying to get something to them. And then, I said, I can't do this anymore. It's not that I don't want to help, but I have to be put in a position where I can help them the most. And that's not coaching them. That's building this business up and then being able to reach back and help them. If they want coaching, they can go through my videos, kind of like what you're saying. But I started doing some investigating on people like Tony Robbins. And this is not, I'm not trying to gas your head up, but I think you have the same tools and abilities as a Tony Robbins. You can be like the female Tony Robbins, right?
Yeah, I honestly tell people I'm better than him. I'm just smaller.
I
just don't have that big body, so I have to kind of get my energy to that big level. But here's the thing, Jimmie. We need to work with those people that want that energy, because other people will tell me what I've always heard in my life, like, you're too much. No, my dear, you're just like too small.
Yes.
And I get it. I respect it, because that's your path. Those are your current blessings.
Yeah. I love you.
Right? But when I saw that, and just like to close this, I know we've extended ourselves a little bit too much, but when I saw your coaching program, Jimmie, I was like, bless this man. I have no clue where he gets the energy, the time. Oh my God, this is amazing. And for 1 millisecond, I thought maybe I can do the same. And then I was like, no, I'm not that nice. Like, of course I want to give. Of course, like, I have a mission, but I also just want to surround myself with those that really want to go somewhere else, or those that can really take me somewhere else because I'm ready.
Yes, ma'am. Wow.
Yeah.
You are ready. You're ready. And my wife and I've gotten some coaching and mentoring from you today. I tell people, if I do an interview and I bring that person on, it's someone I respect enough to learn from. I've learned a lot from you. I didn't take my notes today. I normally do, but
I did. That's why you saw me with
But we're recording, so no worries.
yeah, exactly. I like to jot things down, but I'm going to go back and look at this over and over again. So that's pretty much it. But what I was going to say to you when you were talking, I found out what Tony Robbins charges. He has about 5 people that he coaches every year, and he charges them $1 million per person. And they don't talk to him like once a month. And I'm thinking, why is he charging so much? He values his time, kind of like what you said. But I wish you all the best, because whatever you do is going to prosper, because your spirit and your heart is right. And my wife and I, you have our support. And probably in January, February, somewhere in there, we want to contact you and talk to you about helping us with our portfolio and just giving us some legal advice, and whatever you charge, we'll pay for it. Okay?
Definitely. And this is like let's do a trade.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? So let's do 2 next months of intense support.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
And I won't charge you because I won't need to.
Okay. Okay. I like that. You like that, honey?
I like it.
All right.
I like it.
You like that?
And this is because Jimmie and Arlene, you guys are really, really, how do you call that? Just like something that, like a force that is like constantly reminding me that I can grow bigger.
Yes.
Since 2.5 years ago, you guys mean that for me. So you think you have to pay me? You've given me so much.
Yeah.
You guys have given me so much. Whatever I can make out of like helping you guys has no comparison to what you have already done for me. So thank you so much.
Well, we feel the same way, and we honor leadership. We honor people that put the time and the work in. And so, yeah, thank you a lot. Is there any final thing you'd like to say to the Spanish audience or the English audience before we close? Because we are.
Para la audiencia hispana, familia querida, empiecen. Hoy, ahora, empiecen con la mente, empiecen a ver gente como Jimmie y como Arlene que están ayudando a las comunidades. No se dejen guiar por la fama, los dineros, los relojes, los autos, porque no lleva a ningún lado. Primero, tienes que tener la fuerza para poder que esas cosas se recarguen en ti, porque si no, como dice Jimmie, no vas a tener para pagar un salario de la gente que quieres ayudar y vas a caer. Te van a destrozar. Y el universo, Dios, nunca te va a dar algo que te va a lastimar. Entonces tienes que crecer al punto de poder sostener tus bendiciones. Wow. You won't understand, Jimmie, but I told just deep shit to my people right now.
My wife was like, she said, she's so sweet. I said, honey, you got to teach me. And you know, I've been so hard-headed. I've been not putting the time in to learn. So I'm going to start listening to her more to learn.
You know, just very quickly, I told people that they have to grow up to the point where the blessings won't crush them. They have to be strong enough to be able to hold those blessings that they're asking for, because the universe will never give you something that you're not ready for.
Wow. Man, that's deep. That just knocked me off my feet.
Thank you. I will get confident a little bit more where I can feel comfortable to speak my Spanish, because that is my issue. And so my husband very famously put me on the spot, which is why I always do that. Yes, he always does that, I love him very much. Don't worry, you'll hear me speak Spanish real soon.
You know what's one of my goals, Arlene? I always wanted to be as funny as I think I am in Spanish, in English. So that's why I keep watching all these shows, because I'm like, dude, one day I'm going to be in a stand-up comedy. I'm going to be so funny. And then I hear all these things that I really don't get, you know, like idioms in English. And I'm like, oh, forget it. I don't even need to be funny.
You got this. You got this, Reina.
Yeah, I'm working on it. One day, maybe Netflix or something. I don't know.
You got it, man. You got it.
Well,
oh, my gosh.
Well, you're amazing. Thank you again. And to all of you who's been watching, we've witnessed someone who I feel is one of the greatest leaders in this next generation. And we love her spirit of humility. She's here to serve you. Only contact her if you're serious, because again, she says her time is very, very important. That sounds to me like someone who really wants to make a difference, because she'll put that time and energy somewhere where it's needed. Taj, much respect to you and yours. And I know that whatever you do is going to prosper. And right now, you're so focused on helping others. You know, I'm praying that everything comes back to you in abundance, that you never lack anything. And you never have, because your mindset says you're not going to. And I just pray the absolute best for you, my sister. My wife and I honor you and respect you, and we look up to you, okay?
Yeah.
Continue to be the woman that the Most High called you to be, okay? And with that being said, I always say, I'll see you at the top on the next video, okay? We'll see you at the top.
Stop, my dear.
Okay, shalom.
Bye, sis.
Bye-bye.